The Discovery. The stars shimmered against the void as the UES Horizon drifted toward the massive object. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind her back, studying the holographic display of what her crew had discovered 3 days ago. A derelict vessel of unknown origin, at least 5 kilometers long, its hull a gleaming obsidian despite apparent millennia adrift in space. Still no response to our signals, Captain, reported Communications Officer Tanner. The vessel remains dormant. Voss nodded. The Horizon, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, had been mapping the Cygnus expanse when they detected the anomalous energy signature. Nothing in the United Earth Alliance database matched the design of this ship, nor did any of their alien allies claim knowledge of its origin. Ambassador Korax is requesting to speak with you again, Tanner added, looking uncomfortable. He's quite insistent. Voss sighed. The Araxian ambassador had been sending increasingly urgent messages since they'd reported the discovery. Put him through. The holographic display shifted, and the iridescent, multifaceted face of Ambassador Korax appeared. His translucent wings vibrated with agitation. Captain Voss, I must again implore you to reconsider your approach of this vessel. The ambassador's voice crackled through the translator. The object you found matches descriptions in our oldest historical records. We call it Veshtakar, the harbinger of shadows. Ambassador, I appreciate your concern, but we can't base scientific decisions on mythology, Voss replied diplomatically. This could be the most significant archaeological find in human history. It is not merely mythology. Korax's wings fluttered faster. 17 species across this sector have similar warnings in their ancestral stories. The harbinger brings doom to those who disturb its slumber. We'll proceed with all possible caution, Voss assured him. Horizon out. As the transmission ended, Science Officer Dr. Maya Chen approached with a tablet. Captain, preliminary scans show the vessel is constructed from an unknown alloy our sensors can't fully analyze. And there's something else. We're detecting minimal but persistent power readings from its core. After presumably thousands of years adrift, Voss raised an eyebrow. That's impossible. That's what I thought, Chen agreed. But the data is conclusive. Whatever energy source they used, it's still functioning at a minimal level. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, head of security, joined them. Captain, the boarding team is ready. EVA suits are prepped with extended life support and enhanced shields as you requested. Good, Voss nodded. I'll be leading the team. With respect, Captain, Jackson began, but Voss cut him off. I know the protocols, Commander, but this discovery warrants direct oversight. Her tone made it clear the matter wasn't up for debate. 2 hours later, Voss led a team of 8 specialists toward the massive derelict. Their shuttle approached a breach in the hull that scans had identified as a potential entry point. As they drew closer, the true scale of the vessel became apparent. It dwarfed even the largest ships in the human fleet. Energy signatures are increasing, reported Engineer Specialist Rodriguez. The ship seems to be responding to our approach. Any sign of defensive systems? Voss asked, suddenly concerned. Negative, Captain. It's more like it's waking up. The shuttle eased through the breach, entering a cavernous hangar bay. Their lights swept across what appeared to be smaller vessels, covered in the same obsidian material as the hull, arranged in precise formations. Those look like fighter craft, Jackson observed. This might be a military vessel. Atmosphere readings show trace elements, but not enough to breathe, Chen reported. Temperature is -15 Celsius. Voss led the team deeper into the ship. The corridors were massive, clearly designed for beings larger than humans. Strange symbols adorned the walls, flowing patterns that seemed to shift slightly when viewed from different angles. I'm recording everything for linguistic analysis, Chen said, scanning the symbols. These don't match any known language in our database. They reached what appeared to be a command center. Massive control panels lined the walls, and in the center stood a raised platform with a single chair-like structure. Everything was covered in a fine layer of metallic dust. "Rodriguez, see if you can make sense of these systems," Voss ordered. "Chen, continue documenting these symbols." As Rodriguez approached one of the panels, it suddenly illuminated with a soft blue glow. The engineer jumped back. "I didn't touch anything, Captain," he exclaimed. More panels began to activate, a ripple of blue light spreading throughout the chamber. The symbols on the walls brightened, shifting and rearranging themselves. "Captain," Chen's voice was tight with excitement. "The patterns are changing. I think they're responding to our presence. This could be some form of automatic translation protocol." A deep vibration ran through the ship, making the deck plates tremble beneath their feet. Jackson drew his weapon instinctively. "Captain, I recommend we withdraw immediately," he said. Before Voss could respond, a holographic projection appeared above the central platform. It displayed a star system none of them recognized, with one planet highlighted. Then the image shifted to show the same planet being attacked by massive vessels. The final image showed the planet breaking apart. "It's showing us a war," Chen whispered. "The destruction of an entire world." Another hologram appeared, this one depicting the very ship they stood in, leading a fleet against the attackers. The images were clear. This was no simple vessel. It was a warship, perhaps the flagship of an ancient fleet. "Captain Voss," Rodriguez called out. His voice shook slightly. "I'm detecting a massive power surge from the ship's core. Whatever's happening, it's accelerating." Voss made her decision. "We need more information before we withdraw. Rodriguez, see if you can access their historical records. I want to know what we're dealing with." "Captain," Jackson protested. "We should." A blinding flash cut him off as the central platform suddenly activated fully. A beam of light shot upward, scanning each of the team members in sequence before settling on Voss. A deep, resonating sound filled the chamber, unlike anything they had ever heard. The symbols on the wall stabilized into a coherent pattern. Chen gasped as her translator began to process them. "Captain, I'm getting something," she said. "It says, 'Guardians identified. Protocol Sentinel initiating.'" The Harbinger awakens. The floor beneath them shifted as the entire vessel trembled. Lights blazed to life throughout the ship, systems activating in cascading sequences. "Full retreat," Voss ordered, suddenly understanding the Araxian ambassador's warnings. "Back to the shuttle. Now." But even as the team scrambled to leave, they knew it was too late. Whatever ancient purpose this warship served, they had inadvertently set it in motion. The myths that 17 species had preserved for millennia were about to be proven true, and humanity found itself at the center of what was coming. The awakening. The UES horizon shuddered as energy pulses radiated from the ancient vessel. Captain Voss and her team had barely made it back to their ship before the derelict fully activated. Its obsidian hull now lined with pulsing blue veins of light. "All decks report now," Voss commanded as she strode onto the bridge. "Engineering reports fluctuations in our power grid." First Officer Rice responded. "Whatever that thing is putting out, it's affecting our systems." The communications panel erupted with incoming transmissions, not just from the Araxian ambassador, but from representatives of a dozen species across 3 sectors. "They're all saying the same thing," Captain Tanner reported, her face pale. "The Harbinger has awakened. They're evacuating their nearest settlements." Voss stared at the massive vessel through the view screen. It was now fully illuminated, sections of its hull reconfiguring as weapon systems deployed. "Get me Ambassador Corax." The Araxian's face appeared instantly. For once, his wings were completely still, a sign of extreme distress among his species. "You have awakened it," he said simply. "After 50,000 years, the Harbinger returns." "Ambassador, I need information, not accusations," Voss replied firmly. "What exactly is this vessel? What is its purpose?" Corax's faceted eyes reflected the emergency lights of his own vessel. The Harbinger was created to fight the Void Eaters, beings that consumed entire worlds. When the ancient alliance defeated them, they placed the Harbinger in dormancy as a failsafe. The stories say it would only awaken if the Void Eaters returned. A chill ran down Voss's spine. Are you saying these Void Eaters are still a threat? They were believed destroyed, Korax answered. But the Harbinger would not activate without purpose. It was programmed to recognize their unique energy signature. Dr. Chen, who had been analyzing the data they'd recovered, looked up sharply. Captain, the holographic records we saw, they match an anomaly detected in the Perseus arm 3 months ago. We classified it as a natural stellar phenomenon, but it could be something else, Voss finished. The implications were staggering. A new signal cut through their communications. On every screen, in every system connected to the horizon, symbols appeared, the same symbols they'd seen inside the ancient warship. But now, impossibly, they translated themselves into every known language. We are the Sentinel, the message read. The Harbinger has detected Phase 1 incursion by the Void. Protocols dictate immediate response. This vessel requires compatible operators. It's asking for a crew, Chen whispered. Before anyone could respond, the ancient warship began moving, accelerating with impossible grace for something of its size. It matched course with the horizon, looming over the much smaller exploration vessel. Defensive systems online, Jackson ordered. Belay that, Voss countermanded. It could have destroyed us already if that was its intention. Another message appeared. Verification complete. Human genetic compatibility confirmed. Transfer required. Voss made a decision that would later be debated in halls of power across Earth and beyond. Open a direct channel to the vessel. When the connection established, she spoke clearly. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the United Earth Alliance. We hear your request. Explain the nature of the threat and the required response. The answer came immediately, accompanied by stark visuals that appeared on their screens. They showed vast shadow-like entities moving between stars, consuming energy from planets and leaving dead husks behind. The regions mapped corresponded with several recent dark zone discoveries, areas where stars had inexplicably dimmed. The Void returns. Your species has encountered their advanced scouts. The Harbinger requires 7 compatible operators to reach full combat potential. Without intervention, your galaxy will be consumed within 2.3 of your Earth years. Voss looked around the bridge. Every face showed the same mixture of fear and determination. Humanity was still relatively new to interstellar travel. Many species viewed them as unpredictable, even dangerous. But no one could deny their adaptability and courage. I volunteer, Voss said, and I'll ask for 6 more volunteers from my crew. But we need assurances that this vessel will operate under our ethical constraints. Ethical parameters accepted, came the response. Harbinger command protocols will adapt to human moral framework. Within an hour, Voss had her volunteers, Dr. Chen, Engineer Rodriguez, Security Chief Jackson, and 3 others with specialized skills. The horizon maintained position as the 7 transferred to the ancient warship. Inside, everything had changed. The once dormant systems now hummed with life. The command center blazed with holographic displays, showing star systems across the galaxy, with ominous shadow movements tracked in real time. The interface is intuitive. Chen marveled as she found herself understanding controls that should have been utterly alien. It's adapting to our thought patterns. Voss approached the central command chair. As she sat down, the chair reconfigured around her, and a neural interface activated. Suddenly, she could feel the entire ship as if it were an extension of her body. Its history, purpose, and capabilities flooded her consciousness. The Harbinger was built by a coalition of species that called themselves the Luminous, she said, drawing from knowledge now implanted in her mind. They faced extinction from the Void Eaters, entities from another dimension that feed on the energy of living worlds. The Harbinger was their ultimate weapon, containing technology from a dozen advanced civilizations. Captain, Rodriguez called out, I'm detecting multiple void incursions. Nearest is 3 light-years from inhabited systems in the Deneb sector. Voss felt the Harbinger's weapon systems activate. They were unlike anything humanity had developed, capable of targeting the dimensional rifts the Void Eaters used to enter our universe and sealing them permanently. Alert Earth Command and all allied species, Voss ordered. We're moving to engage. The Harbinger accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible, utilizing drive technology that bent space itself. Within minutes, they arrived at the Deneb sector, where a massive shadow entity was already beginning to envelop a gas giant. Weapons charge, Jackson reported, his hands moving across controls that responded to his thoughts more than his touch. Target the dimensional breach point, not the entity itself, Voss instructed, drawing on the Harbinger's knowledge. We need to cut off their entry path. The ancient warship unleashed a beam of concentrated energy, unlike anything the human crew had ever witnessed. It struck not the shadow itself, but seemingly empty space beside it. Reality rippled, and the shadow entity recoiled as its connection to its home dimension collapsed. Trapped fully in our universe, it became vulnerable to the Harbinger's secondary weapons. Pulses of energy that the ship's database identified as dimensional stabilizers struck the entity, forcing it to condense into physical matter that rapidly dissipated. One down, Rodriguez reported. But I'm detecting 17 more incursions across 5 sectors. For the next 3 weeks, the Harbinger and its human crew hunted the Void Eaters across the galaxy. With each victory, the myth of the ancient warship spread among the stars. The vessel that 17 species had feared in their ancestral memories now became a symbol of salvation. On the 35th day of their mission, they faced the largest void entity yet, one that had already consumed 2 uninhabited planets in the Vega system. As the Harbinger engaged, the creature fought back with unexpected ferocity, damaging several of the warship's systems. Hull integrity at 62%, Chen reported. We can't take another hit like that. Voss, connected deeply to the ship's consciousness, made a decision. Activate the luminous protocol. Captain, we don't know what that does, Jackson warned. The ship does, Voss replied. Through her neural link, she understood this was the Harbinger's ultimate weapon, designed to be used only in the most desperate circumstances. The protocol initiated. The blue energy veins covering the ship's hull intensified to blinding brilliance. For a moment, it appeared as if the Harbinger itself was transforming into pure energy. Then, a wave of light expanded outward, engulfing the void entity and continuing beyond, sweeping through the entire sector. When the light faded, the void entity was gone. Not just defeated, completely erased from this dimension. And across the galaxy, sensors detected the spontaneous collapse of every detected void incursion. The myths had been true. The Harbinger was more than just a warship. It was a dimensional seal, capable of closing the pathways between universes. 3 days later, representatives from 23 species gathered aboard the UES Horizon. Ambassador Korax addressed Captain Voss with his wings displaying colors of profound respect, the highest honor his species could bestow. For millennia, we feared the Harbinger's return, he said. We preserved the warnings but lost the true knowledge of its purpose. Humanity has proven itself worthy of the legacy of the luminous. The ancient warship chose your species for a reason. Voss, still connected to the Harbinger through a residual link, understood that reason now. Unlike many older species who had grown cautious with age, humans still possessed the courage to face the unknown. Even when all wisdom counseled retreat, the Harbinger will remain under joint command, Voss announced. A multinational crew drawn from all willing species, with the mission to defend against any future void incursions. As the delegates discussed the details, Voss looked out at the ancient warship now docked peacefully alongside the horizon. The myths had been true, but incomplete. The Harbinger wasn't a doombringer, but a protector, waiting for the right moment, and the right species, to fulfill its purpose. Humanity had ignored the warnings, awakened an ancient power, and in doing so, had earned their place among the stars.